Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dental Up Podcast, brought to you by Keating Dental Arts, a full-service, award-winning dental laboratory. Each week, you'll learn tips and techniques from real-world dentists, bringing you in-depth interviews, motivating stories, current events, and sports. Here's your host, Shaun Keating.
Hey everyone, Shaun here. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Up Podcast. Our guest this week graduated from Cortland College, earning an economics degree. He then served in the New York City Police Department for 17 years and retired as lieutenant in September of 2000. He is known online as the Certified Tax Coach and co-authored an Amazon bestseller book titled Secrets of a Tax-Free Life. Currently practiced from Garden City, New York, please welcome Craig S Cody Cpa. How's it going, Craig?
It's going great. Thank you very much for having me today, and I'm definitely honored to be the first non-dentist on your podcast.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yes, you are, man. And hey, it's neat. We always thought we were going to get some different people on that weren't dentists, but I just wanted to be of value to the Dental Up family here. And, you know, I think you have some neat things that you have going. And so we're excited about hearing about you, and we'll put all your info on the show notes. But hey, I always like to start off a little bit talking about sports. Now, you into baseball at all? The Yankees are kind of one of the top teams, or no baseball?
Yeah, and I'm like 0 for 3. You know, I'm a Met fan, a Jet fan, and a Knick fan. So, you know, I'm not doing too good.
Nah, dude, that's awesome that you own it, though. I mean, I know a lot of New York Met fans, and heck, I remember Doug Heffernan, the King of Queens. That show, I love it. It kind of reminds me of myself a little bit. But he's a diehard Mets fan too, man. And all those years of, you know, it's been since like the 60s, I think, since they've done anything really good. But back when Tom Seaver, I think, was on them.
Well, speaking of Tom Seaver, that's the big talk in New York is Tom Brady just trademarked the term Tom Terrific.
Oh, you're kidding.
And that's the nickname that Tom Seaver was known as, Tom Terrific.
No kidding. I bet they're going to fight over that.
Yeah. Well, apparently they never trademarked it, so
you're kidding.
I don't think it'll be much of a fight. So
what do you mean?
It looks like Tom Brady has got it.
That's crazy. Tom Brady, man. I mean, I've never heard that. Tom Terrific. I mean, come on.
I've heard the GOAT, and it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to give the guy that much, but yeah, that's the big sports talk around here. So,
oh, absolutely.
And you know, Tom Seaver was just diagnosed, I think, with Alzheimer's. So,
you're kidding. That sucks. Sucks getting old, man. I mean, once you get older, who knows what's growing inside you, and it's just like, you know, tomorrow is a mystery. Yesterday was history, man. We got today, baby, and
enjoy it.
I live it hard every day, so like it's my last. So it looks like we got a little bit of a fire drill in the background, huh?
Yeah, trying to figure that one out, but yes, we have an unplanned fire drill, so I don't see any fire engines, and I am on the second floor, so I could always jump.
Yeah, you could jump out that window, just snap a leg, you'll be all right, man. So it will be good. All right, dude. So let's go ahead, man, and let's go ahead and dental up. So tell me a little bit about your practice here. Now, I'm talking. You have a podcast that actually you host your own podcast, and it's titled The Progressive Dentist Podcast. And
sure, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that, if you could.
Sure. We launched that about 5 weeks ago. It's geared towards the dentist that is not only interested in, you know, growing his dental practice, but is also interested in, you know, other things outside of dentistry to grow his wealth. So in addition to, you know, dental guests, we'll also have different people in different industries regarding different types of investments and talk about leadership and just giving them the information that the dentists need to, you know, improve their overall financial life. And it kind of dovetails with what we do as a practice. Our practice is, you know, focuses on tax planning, and we'll talk about, you know, these pearls that dentists can use to save some money.
Now, you're a CPA, man. That's pretty neat. You did that after being in the police force for 17 years. You went and got into economics, or tell me a little bit about your school and how
Sure.
you know that all worked out for you.
So I left my first round of college in Cortland after 3 years as an economics major. I joined the police department. I followed in my dad's footsteps. My dream was to become a chief at that point, and at some point maybe run the department.
Okay.
You get old, life changes. It's a civil service based thing, so they didn't give a test to become a lieutenant for like 10 years. So I was a sergeant for like 10 years waiting for a test. And you grow, and I decided I kind of got hooked on taxes. And so I went back to school for my accounting degree. And when I left after 17 years, I went to work for an international firm. And I always loved the planning aspect of it, sitting down with people, especially business owners, and showing them ways to do things a little bit differently and saving some money. So I had a great run in the police department. I learned to communicate with people. You could be in Midtown communicating with some corporate, chieftain, and then I might be, in a less, maybe more impoverished area and dealing with, the guy with the lemonade stand and having to talk to him.
Yeah.
So I think I really learned, to communicate with people, and we use that really in our practice. CPAs are not known, to be the best communicators. I mean, I do have a pocket protector, so we're known more towards the pocket protector. It's important to communicate because if you communicate, you could save some money. And my recent book, which I'm going to offer to your listeners, is the 12 biggest tax mistakes that cost dentists thousands. And we go into 12 mistakes that we see dentists making. And, dentists, we could typically save somewhere between $15,000 and $40,000 a year in taxes.
No kidding.
So,
it's with me. When I started my company back in 2002, I worked for a company for 17, 18 years or whatever, and never had to worry about any of that part of it. I just ran the lab. I was a Crown and Bridge manager, and I didn't have to worry about any of that. But when I started my company, my first meeting I had when I was going to start it, and I met, his name was Marcelo Soroka, and he's my accountant, and he worked for a big accountant firm, and he was like one of the head guys, but my friend owned a restaurant. He owned several restaurants, and he had Marcelo as his tax man. So my first thing I knew, because I'm not good with money and numbers, and my first meeting was starting my company was with an accountant, and I remember we ate at an IHOP pancake house, and we sat down many, many years ago now, it seems like, and to this day, it was the best decision I ever did. A lot of dentists, they like to, they're very frugal, and they like to do their books, and they like to do their charts, and they like to do everything on their own, a lot of them. And a lot of them don't like to delegate those things. But I think the most important thing they should delegate and not worry about the money. It's like they say they can't afford to pay a good accounting firm. You can't afford not to pay a good accounting firm because they can make or break you. I mean, 6 months in, this accounting firm that I had, and we went through our business model and everything else, I went and got SBA loans, and I had all this stuff set up, and it's just so organized. And to this day, I still meet them once a month. We go and have a lunch, and we talk about things we can do to help alleviate taxes, to help better prepare for our estimates on taxes and where we're at growing. And it's one of the most important aspects of my company. And any great company has a great accounting firm doing their numbers because you're responsible for them. You can't be, let's write this off, let's write that. You got to be by the book, but you got to be able to know everything you can by the law to help you, pay the least amount of taxes if you can,
And two good points there. Number one is you meet with him every month and you guys talk about stuff, which is really, that's a rarity, and that's a great thing. And the other thing, we talk about doing it ourselves. Well, in my office, I have a bone saw and a pliers. So I could do amputations and I can pull teeth, but I don't. So it is important to work with somebody that really knows what they're doing. And, it comes down to the time value of money. And the one thing we cannot get more of is time.
Yeah, it's and especially the laws changing and everything else, even with this Trump administration the last few years, we're not really sure which way on certain things. And it's just so important to be on top of it, on top of, all the new laws and all the areas that, there's R&D credits. There's so many different things that you can be doing. And as a dentist, if you can only really get in their mind and tell them, it's going to cost you this much, but we're going to help you save, this much and tax preparedness and everything else. And it's just, I think it's one of the most important things for any business, and especially a small business starting out. I probably, we're playing the top dollar with, with the accounting firm I use. And I did it from the beginning and just childlike, not even knowing, but I just knew I wanted to be in good hands and not knowing even what I always used to say, like the first few years, I go, Marcelo, come on, take it easy on me in these bills, man, because they're pretty big bills, this and that. I go, you got to take it easy. And he was like, Shaun, I'm doing what we have to do. And like, he kind of brought that up recently. We had lunch the other day, and he goes, you don't ask me about that anymore. Now you're just asking me what we could do to get, pay less taxes. I mean, God, I remember my old company I worked for. I think it was like, I just don't get it sometimes, like the big corporations, when you have so much monies. And I think we were like at $160 million at that time we were doing yearly. And I do the P&Ls each month, being, the owner and the CFO at the company at the time. And I remember the last year when I left in like 2002, we were doing our P&Ls for 2001. And we did like $160 million, but I remember the whole nut in the federal tax that we paid through the whole thing was like $680,000. I mean, like, and I'm thinking, wow. I pay millions already, and I'm not even a tenth of. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even. It's just weird. But I think as you get big corporations, it's not loopholes, but it's just there's so many things that legally you can write. You just have to have that big volume, of sales.
And if you're a big corporation, you have a team of people that are working for you. Yep. If you're a typical, dental practice, you typically, you don't have a number of attorneys or tax attorneys working for you. So it's important that you have the right people, helping you out, whether it's your legal attorney, your CPA, the right lab you're dealing with. All those things are important. And, we talk about 12 of those things in the book. And the main thing, is failing to plan.
Yes.
And you talk about it. You speak with your CPA every month. Yeah. That's a great thing.
Well, and also my CFO here at work, they work in conjunction through the month. And it's like, I love it with him that, like, every time I talk to my lawyer, I mean, it's, he's like $800 an hour, and then unless I get one of his associates, and that's, I mean, I talk to him for 15 minutes and, I'm at $200+ and like, I don't like talking to my lawyer, but my accountant, I buy him a lunch and we're good to go each month, and he doesn't charge me on it, but he really takes pride in kind of with helping me start my company, because he worked for a big conglomerate for all these years as the head guy. And actually in the last few years, he went and started his own company. He goes, Shaun, I really admire you, how you started yours. And I've seen other clients do it. So he finally did it after all this time, where now I got him. And I think his prices even went up more. No, but it's like, it's important. It's like one of the most important things that I did in my company is to get a CFO. But the very first thing was to get an accounting firm to do all my numbers from the very beginning. And I don't ever have to worry about any of that. I just sign my names on all these, these documents each year. And that's it is so important. And it just, that's why I said I accepted having you on this, because you're an accountant and you work with dentists and the ins and outs. And I know there's a few other CPA type guys that I've seen on Dental Town and on Facebook, and most dentists are kind of skeptical, and they're thinking, oh, I got my aunt's doing it, or I'm doing it, and I'm doing it through, Charles Schwab or whoever, H&R Block or stuff like that. It's like, no, you should be doing tax preparing, planning and everything else. And it's daily, weekly on, your numbers. As they go up, they go down and things like that. So hats off to you, man, for sure.
Yeah. And knowing your numbers are important to make good business decisions, if it's okay with you, we could run through a couple of these, mistakes that we see dentists making, and
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll pick up a few pearls. So,
Perfect.
The first is obviously failing to plan, because, people wait till January to have a conversation with their accountant. And at that point, the year is over. There's not a whole lot you can do. Then people saying, I can't do that because I'll be audited, and it's like, if the tax code lets you do something, do it and document it so you're okay.
Absolutely.
And probably one of the biggest mistakes is working out of the wrong business entity. How did you decide to be an LLC or an S corp or a partnership? What was the thought process? Or was it you called your attorney and he said, in your state, the best legal entity style for you is to be an LLC or an S corporation?
Yeah.
Did your CPA and your attorney, did they have a conversation? Another big one is with the new tax code is qualified business income. And that's the 20% deduction that, the new tax bill is giving business owners. Now, unfortunately for dentists, if your taxable income runs over $315,000, so if you make the $315 to $415, that's taxable income, that deduction phases out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people still that, they make that cut.
Yeah.
And, if they don't know what the criteria is for getting and taking advantage of that deduction, it could cost them a lot of money. Then we have retirement plans. Are we operating? Do we have the right retirement plan? We'll run into the person that says, well, I don't want to have to contribute for my employee. And that might cost them 3%, but, they're in the 33% or 24% bracket. So what is it really costing them not to make that deduction? Are you hiring your kids? Is your wife doing work for you? Does it make sense to hire your wife and then, have a retirement plan for her also and put away another $19,000 a year? Are you looking at that? The tax court has ruled you can hire your kids as young as 7 years old. I typically like to wait till they're around 11.
Okay.
And, now your kids can make up to $12,000 a year and pay no federal tax.
Exactly.
So
it's amazing. And then, also with your 401ks, your contributions, depending on how many employees you have and what they're contributing, what the staff and the ownership and their kids and, it's so much to it. It really is. And I remember doing that stuff way back in the day. And it's just, and I'm a knucklehead. I'm not real smart, but I've got the sharpest run. I have a company that's run like a Fortune 500 company from the top to the bottom, man. And I'm just a knucklehead from Huntington Beach, California, man. That it's just amazing. And it's just, you plug in the numbers and then, I think some of the new ones that came out is almost entertainment. You can't write off your entertainment and your meals and stuff,
right.
Or what's going on there?
Well, meals are still 50% deductible.
Yeah,
entertainment
50%.
is no longer deductible.
Yeah.
But there are things out there. There's the home office, and are you spending 15 hours? Most people I know are spending more than 15 hours a week working at home, doing work at night, doing billing, whatever it is, and then that opens up, travel from one office to the other.
Yeah.
It opens up the home athletic facility. So, do you have a pool? Okay, now that can be deductible under a home athletic facility. Do you have a home gym?
Exactly.
So these are all things that add up. And, there's another one we see all the time is, a dentist will buy a practice and then they'll start working with a tax preparer. And then maybe next year they'll be working with a different tax preparer. And then nobody's ever taken the depreciation or the amortization on the goodwill involved when they purchase that.
Yeah.
And that could be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year in deductions.
Exactly.
So, you need to work with a professional and you need to communicate with that professional. And the more you communicate, the more that person, as long as he's not just putting the right numbers in the right boxes, will be able to help you keep more of what you make.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it amazes me and how the whole system works. And I think I was listening to some TV last night, and it was one of the guys in government, working for the president, and they were talking. It was a Jared Kushner kid. And I've never heard the guy talk before, so I was sitting there listening to him. And this reporter was kind of drilling him on all his businesses, and he was saying now when he started, he had to drop this business and this business through the government, but they were just he was talking about all your businesses and what you make and the taxes. And he kind of gave a snapshot on the American tax code. There's professionals out there that you're not breaking law. You're just getting the most benefit of everything you can through the law of the land. And it's like the smart ones, with the ones that are doing the tax preparation and the planning, and they go through that tax code with a fine tooth comb, and they get every single thing they can. And it's just, you're not breaking the law. You're doing everything you can to use it to your advantage the best you can. And you need people that know what they're doing to get the most out of it. Not saying you're going to cheat on your tax or anything. You're going to use everything you can to the letter of the law of the tax code to your advantage. And I bet there's so many people and dentists and business owners that are probably getting 60, 50% of the true benefits that they could if they knew if they did this, like I said, with the R&D credits, with the hiring and the different things. It is really, I just always remember, man, I don't want to pay taxes, but you do. I love the more taxes I pay, the more I'm making. So I'm excited. I really don't have a problem with my tax because I know I'm doing everything I can to, pay as little tax as I can by the law. But the more I pay, it's like, even like with my technicians, I love it, man. Oh, I'm making 150 grand. I'm making 200 grand. I love the more they make. I know that because that's the more I'm making. It's just basic. And guys don't get that. They don't want to pay their people more and this and that. I think you take care of your people. You pay them well. You just, go the extra yard, treat them like family. And you want them to all make more money. You want them to make as much as they can, because in this life and industry, the more you make, the more you pass it on. And that's just, I don't know. I've always looked differently at it. And, lawyers, not so much loving those guys. You need them. You need the best ones you can get. Okay. But not real excited about them. Accountant, love the accountant. He is my right-hand man. He happens to be a good friend too now after all these years. And it's just something, it's your lifeline. And it's just for him to be the smart nerd, to be a lot of dentists are kind of nerdy dudes. And I'm a dental nerd too. And I love to nerd out on dentistry, but I love an accountant nerd, that just is the bookworm. He studies the new laws every day, every month, especially new administrations come in and this and that. But you got to know the letter of the law and all this and all these tax codes. You need to not just know the base, you need to know everything inside it out. And it's just nothing better for you as a business owner to have someone that's just, the cream of the crop, 5-star, the best of the best. Well, I don't want to pay them. You pay them. It'll come back tenfold to you because, it just, you'll sleep better at night, and everything else. But, so yeah, I'll shut up. Keep going there.
well, we've pretty much hit them all. I think the last one we missed was medical benefits. What are you doing? You have a Section 125 plan, so you get a deduction, which is pretty basic. Certain types of entities could have medical expense reimbursement plans where, in a lot of industries, the kids need braces and you have to send them someplace to get braces, and braces are $6 to $8 grand a pop. Or, older people, they need, new implants and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's ways to make that deductible, which is not always, come into play in the dental industry, but it does come into play with, other business owners. And then are you looking at the real estate that you own? Are you looking to, get the biggest bang for your dollar as far as depreciation and cost segregation studies, which is a way to accelerate the depreciation on your building that maybe your dental practice operates out of?
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things, and it all comes down to really communicating with your CPA. And like you said before, like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Trump, they have a team of tax advisors working for them. Exactly. So why can't the small business owner out there have the same thing?
Absolutely. No, I'm with you 110%, man. And Cody, man, good job, dude. I think this, I definitely get your stuff, your info on the show notes. And, maybe if you have a special on your book or something, yep, let us know on that, and we'll post it up there. And heck, I would send me a couple of those out. I'd like to look at them, and maybe I get them some of my accounts that, I'd love to do that. But I'll pick up some from you for sure too. And
if they go to my website, which is craigcodyandcompany.com/dental-up, there'll be a link there, and they can actually get a free paper copy that we'll mail out to them.
Ah, beautiful. That's awesome, man. No, that is so cool, dude. I think it's one of the most important ththings in any business, not even a dentist, just any small business, medium business, large business. Get a great tax attorney or a great accountant to do your stuff, because it just, it's just so much better than just getting by on, the average Joe down the street. I just right. feel that way, in anything, I try to find someone that's like at the top of their field and that's going to plan with me and everything else on how we can best, reduce our taxes. And that's important. The less taxes, man. Right. That's what we all want, right?
Exactly, and then it comes down to return on investment. What are you paying, and what is your investment? So if I told you I could give you a 400% ROI versus your broker, if your broker says you could get 400% ROI guaranteed, you'd go in a minute.
Heck yeah, I'd go with 5%, 8%, baby. Come on, I like a little return. I'm not greedy. No, it's amazing. I still, and I don't even know how it all works. I'm just amazed on, what these guys go through and all the laws and all that and just the whole thing. It's so important. It's just, we've never been laid on a check in almost 20 years and we're just so sound, structured so well. And it's all because it started off with the accounting at the very beginning and you dial that in. And then that was the most important thing was for me to get a CPA in here, to run my company with me. And she's my right-hand person. And we love that. Then my next biggest hire was my marketing person. But my first one was my numbers person, and I think any company, you need that for your foundation and for longevity. Because a lot of companies don't even make it after 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And we're going on our second decade here. And I look forward to many more decades. And I think with the dentists, man, if they can get some good CPAs working for them. And I think it's just a very, very important thing for the success of your company. So Craig Cody, CPA from Manhasset, New York. Where the heck's Manhasset at, dude? Is that in one of the 5 boroughs or what?
we're in Long Island.
Okay.
Just outside of, right outside of the city. So I'm 20 miles and an hour and a half from Midtown Manhattan.
No kidding. You're over there by Bethpage Black, that little golf.
Exactly. Not too far from there. I'm a little bit closer to the city than that, but yes, that's the infamous golf course. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome, dude. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for coming on the Dental Up podcast. And hey, if you need any dental work, man, I got a ton of doctors out in New York, man. Give me a call. I'll hook you up, baby.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me on.
All right,
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Dental Up Podcast Show this week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or search the Dental Up Podcast on iTunes for our weekly feed. Don't forget to visit KeatingDentalArts.com/promo for exclusive offers. Keating Dental Arts is a full-service dental laboratory, and we're nationwide. We'd love for you to send us a case so we can show you the Keating difference. If you dig what you heard, please leave a review on iTunes, and we'll be back next week.